Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of RotoBaller Radio's Waiver Wire series, the Waiver Wire, for Week 4 of your fantasy baseball season, the week beginning May 2nd. Today's episode, we'll take a look at some hitters you should add for the upcoming week. And guys, don't forget to win big in 2022 with rotoballer.com's MLB and DFS Premium Pass, which includes 15 exclusive lineup tools, daily DFS cheat sheets, and our new Team Sync platform. Use RotoBaller's exclusive hitter projections, pitching planners, DFS value plays, research stations, lineup optimizer, and more to help you win big. For a limited time, get your MLB Premium Pass for an extra 10% off using the discount code ACES. Visit rotoballer.com, sign up today, and start rotoballing like a boss. Guys, don't forget also, follow me on Twitter at Aniano Fantasy. Make sure you check out all the great content right here on RotoBaller's YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. This is the hitter video. Make sure you check out the pitching video as well. And as you know, we come at you each and every week on these waiver wire videos. Look at some players you should add. I use the Yahoo roster percentage ship. Try to keep it at or about 40%, sometimes a little bit higher. I know not all these players are available in your leagues, but some may be and worth a look to at least check out on the waiver wire. And we always start by throwing a catcher out there in case you're desperate. This week's catcher is out of Toronto, Zach Collins. 27% rostership on yahoo.com. Now, over the last 2 weeks, I'm breaking this down in 2 week and then the full season. Over the last 2 weeks, he's been red hot, hitting .324, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, and 4 runs scored. He's 11 for his last 34. On the season, he's 11 for 39, lowering his average from that .324 over the last 2 weeks to .282 on the season. His on-base percentage for the season sits at .317, gives him an OPS of .881. Okay, the power has played over the last 2 weeks, like I mentioned, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, 4 runs scored. If you're desperate for a catcher, looking for depth, whatever you might need to do, right now, Zach Collins of Toronto, swinging a hot bat and getting enough at-bats to make him fantasy relevant in your league. Now, let's pivot to some middle infielders. Second base, shortstop eligible players. Okay, and we stay in Toronto with Santiago Espinal, who has been taking over and playing second base on a regular basis over Biggio. Okay, only 15% rostered. He's eligible at second base and third base, which then makes him middle and corner infield eligible in Yahoo formats. Over the last 2 weeks, he's hitting .275, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 5 runs scored, and sprinkling in a few stolen bases, 2 stolen bases over the last 2 weeks, 3 stolen bases over the course now of the season. On the season, he's hitting .262 with a .333 on-base percentage, 10 RBIs to go along with those 2 home runs he's hit over the last 2 weeks, 7 runs scored. Over the last 2 weeks, he's 11 for 40, season 16 for 61, OPS of .776. Last season, Espinal hit .311 with 6 stolen bases in a little over half a season, 92 games. This is potentially a guy who can hit at or near 300, give you double-digit stolen bases, hitting 7th or 8th in that Toronto lineup. Okay, playing that middle infield role for you. You could do worse. And maybe you lost. Maybe you made the mistake and invested in Alberto Mondesi. Torn ACL. You could get out of that mistake. Pick up a high average guy. Sprinkling some steals like a Santiago Espinal. Also available at the middle infield position is Yankee shortstop Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Shortstop, middle infield eligible. Only 23% rostered. Now, I mentioned him as a sleeper middle infielder before the draft started, before the season started. In 2021 for Texas, he stole 20 bases and hit .271. Now, this season, on the season, he's hitting .298 with a .328 on-base percentage. That's on the season, 17 for 57. Over his last 2 weeks, he's batting .351, 13 for his last 37, with 2 steals. No power, no real power to speak of. I think he's hit 10 home runs max in his career. But 5 RBIs, 6 runs scored over the last 2 weeks, 10 runs scored on the season. Sprinkle in those steals, the ability to give you 15 to 20. Now, the problem with the Yankees is there's one too many infielders for spots with DJ LeMahieu, with Kiner Falefa, with Josh Donaldson, okay, and Gleyber Torres still in the picture. The problem is you can't take Anthony Rizzo out of the lineup right now. He's playing first base every day. So those other 4 players are playing for 3 spots. But Falefa red hot, 351. Yankees playing real good ball. Best record in the American League at the time of this recording. In full disclosure, I record this Friday before the Friday night games begin. Okay? If you're looking, so for a middle infielder, you got Espinal in Toronto, Falefa in the Yankees, both less than 25% rostered on Yahoo, both giving you decent batting average and some stolen bases if you need that. Maybe make up for Mondesi in whatever way you can. Corner infield options. Eric Hosmer of the San Diego Padres. We can't ignore it anymore. We've tried to ignore it because Hosmer's a back of the baseball card player. We see what he does every single year. Padres tried to get out of Eric Hosmer and trade him. There was a big trade rumor of him going to the Mets along with Chris Paddock for Dom Smith in the offseason. Well, Hosmer has come back angry, and he's hitting the tar off the ball. Let's just call it what it is. He's only 42% rostered on Yahoo. And on the season, he is 27 for 65. It's a 415 batting average. His OPS on the season is over 1,000, 1.072. Over his last 2 weeks, he's 15 of 39, a 385 batting average. His on-base percentage for the season, it's almost 500, folks. It's 472. 2 homers, 11 RBIs, 8 runs scored on the season, 8 RBIs over his last 2 weeks. Eric Hosmer scorching the ball. If you're struggling at that middle infield spot, you're desperate for help there. Or you can rearrange your lineup however you need to. If you're taking a beating in batting average, as players struggle, hitting in the 220s, 230s, it's an all-time low right now through the first month of the season of batting average across the league. Well, here's a guy who's not struggling with his batting average, who's available in almost 58% of Yahoo leagues, who's hitting 415 on the year and 385 in the last 2 weeks. Get him in your lineup while he's hot. Enjoy it. And then if he cools off, he goes back to being who Eric Hosmer is. No harm, no foul. Put him back on the waiver wire. Alec Boehm of the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, defense notwithstanding, swinging a good bat for the Phillies all season. Third base, corner, infield, optional. All right, so you got Hosmer, first base, corner, infield. Alec Boehm, third base, corner, infield, optional, eligible, I should say. 46% roster, a little higher than where I usually go. They sent down the rookie, Bryson Stott. He went down. The position is now Boehm's. 275 over his last 2 weeks, which has actually lowered his batting average on the season to 326. On base percentage for the season is 375. He's driven in 14 runs already this year, 13 of them over the last 2 weeks, with 2 home runs and 11 runs scored. OPS is 875, hitting 6th or 7th in a Philly lineup that can hit. And that's where the RBIs come into play for the young third baseman, who just 2 years ago was their top prospect offensively coming up through the minor leagues. Struggled a bit last year, does struggle defensively, but so does that whole Philly team when you're relying on Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber in the corner infield spots. Okay, that's just the way that team has been designed. Okay, they're going to try to mash you to death, pitch, and hope the other team just doesn't hit the ball to anybody. All right, so Boehm right now, those 14 RBIs caught my eye. Give me a 326 batting average on the season, something to pay attention to if you're in need of a third baseman or a corner infielder. And finally, if you need an outfielder, pay attention to what's happening in Baltimore with Austin Hayes. Austin Hayes last season hit 22 home runs. Right now this season, he's hitting 279 with 2 homers, 9 RBIs, and 6 runs scored. What caught my eye was his batting average over the last 2 weeks, which has been 362. Scorching hot. 17 hits in his last 47 at-bats. Hitting in 4th, 5th, or 6th in that Baltimore lineup. On the season, his OPS sits at 834. He's only 41% rostered. And if you're rostering guys like Trent Grisham, Harrison Bader, Dylan Carlson, who are all hitting at or about 200 or even less than that, and meanwhile there's a player hitting 362 over his last 2 weeks, you're missing out on a scorching hot player. Again, like Hosmer, where batting averages are at an all-time low, you're leaving the guys who are actually hitting for a high batting average on the waiver wire. It just doesn't make sense to me. Need a catcher, Zach Collins. Middle infielders, Santiago Espinal, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Corner infielders, Eric Hosmer, Alec Bohm. And an outfielder, Austin Hayes. All right, everybody, make sure you like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel. Head over to rotoballer.com. Sign up now for that MLB Premium Pass. Use the promo code ACES. Save yourself 10%. Follow me on Twitter at @Aniano Fantasy. And make sure you check out the Week 4, starting May 2nd, pitcher preview as well. All right, everybody, have a good one. Stay smart, stay safe. We'll see you next time, folks.